I'm Dave Froehlich. Thanks for watching this CrimeWatch YouTube exclusive, where we take a look back at recent crime stories that have been making headlines in our area and across the state. One man is dead after police say he was shot by an officer at an apartment complex on Howard Lane near Dessau Road. Police say there were reports of a man walking around with a rifle and lots of people at the apartment complex at the time. Fox 7 Austin's Angela Shen has the story.
At the bridge at Harris Ridge apartment complex, around 1 in the afternoon Tuesday, police got a call about a man firing a rifle. 2 responding officers drove through the parking lot. One radioed that the man had pointed a rifle at them. There were people walking around, and both officers got out of their cars and took cover.
They communicated over the radio that the suspect continued to point the rifle at them, and one officer stated that he was unsure if it was a rifle or a BB gun.
Police say the suspect yelled he wanted officers to shoot him, and officers tried to get him to drop the weapon.
Air 1 was paged out to assist officers, and within that same minute, one of the officers announced that shots were fired and the suspect was down.
The suspect was pronounced dead on scene.
When I came home from my lunch break, I saw the guy laid out.
Some viewers expressed concern about the man's body not being covered.
As officers were responding, please know that we were attempting to make the scene safe in addition to render medical aid. It wasn't until we were able to get enough units on scene to where we could properly make sure that the body was protected from public view.
This isn't the first time a shooting has happened at that apartment complex. Over the summer, a 14-year-old girl was shot and killed there.
It happens a lot over here.
It's always nerve-wracking. Because you think about things like stray bullets and such, but I also understand that just living in a dense environment, these sorts of things happen. But hopefully, I don't want any more of them to happen.
As Tuesday's case is still being investigated, police say it's not clear if the suspect actually fired shots when the first call came in.
Officials say that body camera video will be released within 10 business days. The officer who fired his gun has 4.5 years service with the department. Austin police have released new details about a different fatal officer-involved shooting on 6th Street back on December 17th. Police have identified the man shot and killed by officers as 29-year-old Trey Hernandez. Police say they were called because Hernandez was attempting to enter the Soho Lounge and NAR bar with a firearm. According to police, when officers approached him, Hernandez pulled out his weapon and aimed it in the direction of officers and bystanders. 3 officers fired back and killed Hernandez. 3 bystanders were injured in the gunfire exchange, with one of them in critical condition. All officers involved have been placed on administrative leave since the shooting. Police warn body camera footage is expected to be released by the department at some point in the next 2 weeks. The Austin Police Department has released new body cam video in the deadly shooting spree from earlier this month, which shows the moments police say the suspect fired shots at an APD officer. That body camera footage is from December 5th on Astral Loop, where the suspect exchanged gunfire with an APD officer during a burglary call. Fox 7 Austin's Tan Radford has more.
Complainant states the subject kicked down the back door.
Austin police were called to a burglary in progress around 6:50 p.m. on Austral Loop. When they arrived, gunfire erupted.
I'm hit! Shots fired, shots fired, shots fired.
10-4, shots fired.
Police radio traffic and body camera video reveal the moment Detective Strother made it to the backyard, finding the suspect, Shane James Jr., who immediately fired several gunshots at the officer.
Shots fired, shots fired, shots fired. All right, where's he at?
He just ran out the back.
Get cover, come over here, find this car. Find this car. Please. Officer is hit.
Detective Strother was hit several times by the gunfire. He did manage to fire back at the suspect and move to the front of the house, where he was provided first aid by another officer on scene.
Get cover, come over here.
The officer was taken to a local hospital and treated for non-life-threatening injuries. The suspect, Shane James Jr., was not hit in the shootout.
The suspect ran to the detached garage and stole the homeowner's 2015 Acura. Additional officers witnessed the Acura driving at a high rate of speed in the 11400 block of Escarpment. Officers attempted to initiate a traffic stop on that vehicle, but the suspect refused to stop and a vehicle pursuit was initiated.
Police say Shane James lost control and crashed the vehicle at State Highway 45 and FM 1826 during that chase and was taken into custody.
Additional officers responded to 5376 officer will loop to search the residence. Upon entering, officers located 2 females with gunshot wounds to their person. The females were identified as Catherine and Lauren Short.
The mother and daughter did die from the gunshot wounds. In total, 6 people were killed during the shooting spree and 3 were injured.
Shane James is currently in the Travis County Jail. He's facing 10 charges in Travis County and multiple charges in Bexar County. Well, some Austinites are expressing hesitation about going to the mall after one person was shot at Barton Creek Square Mall. Police say it was an isolated incident and not an active shooter. Fox 7 Austin's Amanda Ruiz spoke to people at the mall after the incident, with many calling that day one of the scariest moments of their lives.
The Barton Creek Mall seemed back to normal Monday morning, with shoppers pulling in to do some last-minute Christmas shopping. But 2 days prior,
wow, this is insane.
Many mall goers believed they wouldn't even make it to Christmas.
It felt really dangerous. It felt really scary. We were like, this could be the end. Yeah, that's what we thought.
Jeremy Godwin says he was at the mall Saturday with his wife and 4 kids inside a toy store when chaos ensued.
And we turned around and saw just everyone running by the front of the store, just like a stampede of people as fast as they could, just running by the door. And we heard like screaming and yelling all throughout the outside of the mall.
Godwin admits he had no idea what was going on, but knew it couldn't be good. So he and his wife grabbed the kids and followed a crowd of people into the store's storage room, which led them into the mall's back hallways.
We're just panicked. There's people with all these kids. There's no signs, and our cell phones don't work back there.
And in another part of the mall was Miana Martinez. She was in the middle of eating at the Cheesecake Factory with her husband and 3 sons when
people are running, screaming. A lot of people are saying, get down, get down.
Martinez says they hid under their table, her whole body covering her sons as best she could.
I had no idea what was going on. I just assumed it was a shooter.
She wasn't the only one who believed that. Godwin also told Fox 7 Austin he thought the same thing after overhearing someone say they saw a person with a gun.
The only news we got was to confirm our worst fears, is that this was real, so we just kept running.
Austin police tweeted clarifying this was not an active shooter situation. It was an isolated incident with no threat to the public. But Godwin says in the moment, they just didn't know for sure.
If we would have known that, but no one thinks that anymore. If you think anything, we're just in the mall, we're like, oh my God, it's a mass shooting. That's just the number one thing that was in our head, is there's some mass shooter. They're just trying to get us all.
Godwin says he was able to make it out of the mall safely with his family. Police followed up their original tweet an hour later, saying one person was transported to the hospital. The incident seemed to have happened by the movie theater and Cheesecake Factory. Martinez says they were able to also make it safely out. However, her kids are traumatized.
My 8-year-old has said that it's pretty much the only thing he can think about. He says, that he just keeps thinking about the gunshots and all the blood. Every time he closes his eyes.
In the end, she's glad this incident wasn't worse than it was, and says she learned from this experience.
So I think it's definitely important to be aware of your surroundings and, a safe escape if, God forbid, you need to.
2 families are frustrated with the justice system in Travis County. The man they say was drinking and driving and killed their children is out on bond, and that same suspect has been charged with 6 DWIs in the past. The family tells Fox 7 Austin's Meredith Aldis Roberto Rangel's criminal history speaks for itself, and he shouldn't be out in the community.
I just hope that he asks God for forgiveness, because I can't.
52-year-old Roberto Rangel started racking up DWIs at the age of 17. He's been charged with DWI 6 times in 1989, 1996, 2000, 2004, 2005, and 2012, and he's spent time in prison.
We know that being in jail wasn't enough for him to stop drinking.
Because last year, he was caught drinking and driving for the 7th time, and 2 people were killed. 22-year-old Kate Garcia and 23-year-old Mark Narvaez. Court documents reveal on December 18, 2022, at around 2:45 in the morning, Rangel was pulling out of the Chick-fil-A driveway off East Bend White Boulevard, failed to yield, and ran into a motorcycle, ejecting and killing Garcia and Narvaez. Garcia had just gotten engaged the night before.
She was going to start her life.
And Narvaez was about to graduate from the University of Texas.
We miss him.
Officers say Rangel told them at the scene he was too drunk to complete the field sobriety test. He was taken to jail and held on $100,000 bond.
It's gone from bad to worse since we started this case.
About 3 months after he was arrested, his charge was dropped to DWI. Then his bond was reduced to $10,000 and he got out of jail.
We don't understand why he's out.
I think that a guy like him is basically making a mockery out of our legal system.
Rangel's bond conditions continue to be modified. The most recent order was to remove his portable alcohol monitor.
What kind of example is this to society, to the community?
The parents of Narvaez and Garcia say Rangel is dangerous and needs to be locked up so he can't hurt or kill anyone else.
I would like to see his charges raised again back to manslaughter. I would like for him to go back to, waiting his time while this criminal process takes place, to serve it at least in jail and not be out free, and who knows what he's doing now.
In Texas, the law states the first 2 convictions of DWI are misdemeanors. The third and fourth are felonies, with offenders facing 2 to 10 years in prison. The 5th DWI conviction can cost someone life in prison. Records show Rangel has been sentenced to 14 years and 60 days for his past convictions.
And ultimately, he needs to be locked away.
Fox 7 Austin spoke to Rangel's attorney about the case. He said he had no comment. District Attorney's Office also is not commenting on active cases. An Austin police officer who shot and killed a man in South Austin more than a year ago has been indicted by a grand jury. Rajmoon Singh was killed by Officer Daniel Sanchez, who's now charged with deadly conduct. DA Jose Garza is defending the grand jury's decision, but Moon Singh's mother is asking him to go a step further. Fox 7 Austin's John Krinjak spoke with the victim's family and Officer Sanchez's attorney.
We want to make sure that other families don't have to suffer the pain that ours has.
13 months ago, 30-year-old Rajmoon Singh was killed by Officer Daniel Sanchez outside his home in South Austin after police got a call about a man pointing a rifle down the street. When officers arrived, they say they saw Moon Singh shooting into his home.
Draw the gun!
Sanchez then shot him.
A grand jury determined that Officer Sanchez's conduct was unlawful.
That grand jury handing up an indictment for deadly conduct, a third-degree felony. The indictment saying Sanchez did knowingly discharge a firearm at or in the direction of Moon Singh.
When an officer gets indicted for doing his job, it's concerning.
In a statement, APD Interim Chief Robin Henderson defending Sanchez, saying APD will continue to support him as this process moves forward. The incoming Austin Police Association president backing Sanchez up as well.
Officer Sanchez acted in accordance with his training and was put in an extremely difficult position where he had to make a split-second decision to make sure that no harm came to anyone else that's in a densely packed part of Austin.
Both Moon Singh's mother, Ruth, and DA Jose Garza slamming APD's response.
The statement reflects an alarming disregard for the rule of law, for our criminal justice system, and for Rajan and his family. No one is above the law in Travis County.
But Moon Singh's family believes even higher charges are warranted.
We call on the DA to present the clear video evidence to a new grand jury so that charges can be brought against Officer Sanchez that are consistent with the law and the facts.
I suspect that the district attorney's office tried to get the higher charges with this grand jury and couldn't, and that's why it ended up in deadly conduct.
Through his lawyer, Brad Heilman, Officer Sanchez maintaining his innocence.
My heart goes out to the family. But I think we take it to trial and they see all the evidence. I think they're going to have a better understanding of what really happened that night. And that's what we look forward to.
And as the case now moves forward, Ruth Moonsing invoking her son's own words.
You are strong, even when people doubt you. Don't change for anyone. May Rajan's words inspire us all.
The DA's Civil Rights Unit will be prosecuting the case. For now, Officer Sanchez has been placed on paid administrative duty. In Fayette County, authorities have arrested 2 men after traffic stops turned into the discovery of thousands of dollars hidden inside a spare tire. This image comes from the Fayette County Sheriff's Office. You can see the bundles of cash, and you can see where deputies say it was stored. In total, the Sheriff's Office say they found just under $200,000 inside the tire. The Sheriff says they found the cash after pulling over these 2 men, 34-year-old Eduardo Luna and 19-year-old Salvador Gomez. Both are currently behind bars, charged with money laundering. In Fort Worth, a woman shot and killed a teenage boy she said was trying to break into her home where she and her 4 daughters live. She spoke exclusively to Fox's Sean Robb about what happened.
I was cleaning my living room, sweeping my floor, and I heard her window start going back up. So I went and I looked in the hallway and I could see him standing at the window lifting it up, and I just shot.
Gunshots that killed 14-year-old Devin Baker at the bedroom window of Aaliyah Wallace's 8-year-old daughter early morning, December 14th.
It's bothering me that he was a kid.
The incident happened not long after police left Wallace's home after responding to her 911 call about someone trying to break into her duplex.
So I called him at 1:22 a.m. We talked for like 30 minutes. They did a report, took pictures of everything, and then they left.
I believe there were reports that you had been burglarized or attempted burglaries before?
Yes, I have like 3 or 4 police reports before this night.
So what has happened since this incident?
The apartment called and told me that I was not supposed to have a gun at all, even though I kept calling them and telling them somebody was breaking in. They told me I could not have a gun and that I have 30 days to vacate.
And how does that make you feel?
Feel like I'm back at square one. I've been there for 6 years, so now I don't know what to do.
This case is going to the grand jury. It's a referral, as they call it, and they're going to let citizens decide. What do you want people to know about you, Aaliyah Wallace?
That I was only protecting my kids. I have 4 daughters. It's just me and my 4 daughters that stay there. I just was protecting my daughters.
How do you feel about what happened?
I'm devastated that he was 14. I hate that. I literally do, and I'm so sorry. But at that point, I had to think about my babies. I didn't know he was 14 when he was on the other side of that window. All I knew that somebody could come in here and hurt me or my kids. That's it.
Sean Rabb, Fox 4 News.
Say in North Texas, where police took a man into custody in a bizarre situation after police said he hit a person. The man ended up driving to a restaurant parking lot with the dead pedestrian's body in his passenger seat after the body went through the windshield. Fox's Amelia Jones has more.
Around 11:15 Saturday night, White Settlement Police got a call to check on a driver at a Jack in the Box off I-30.
And the call was simply, hey, there looks like a crashed car and the driver slumped over the wheel.
Police realized the driver, 31-year-old Nestor Joel Luan Flores, was impaired. The officer used a flashlight to check the car and found the lifeless body of a man in the passenger seat. Flores told police he thought he hit a deer in Dallas.
A little bit of confusion at the scene. Again, he didn't know where he was at, and he thinks he struck an animal when in reality, we know now, it was a pedestrian.
I-30 and Cockrell Hill Road. Police believe this is where the crash happened, and the impact forced the victim into the passenger seat. Flores then drove 40 miles to the restaurant parking lot with the man's body inside the car.
Reviewing video, he actually pulled into the parking lot around 8 p.m. So that means he had stayed at our Jack in the Box for 3 hours and 13 minutes before we get our first call.
Police have some idea of his movements before the crash. A flock camera shows Flores in his car not wrecked at 6 p.m. at the intersection of East Mayfield and New York Avenue in Arlington.
So from 6:01 p.m., we believe he traveled into Dallas County, was likely involved in a collision there at I-30 Cockrell Hill, and then gets in our city around 8 o'clock.
According to police records, in 2021, Flores was arrested and convicted of driving while intoxicated in Collin County. White Settlement Police Chief Christopher Cook says in his 2 decades of policing, he's never seen a case like this.
These types of cases are very frustrating to our team because not only is it traumatic to see the trauma to a human body like this, but we know these kind of things are avoidable.
Amelia Jones, Fox 4 News.
And finally, the Kyle Police Department is dedicating its victim services room to a woman who first started the program and then was murdered in 2015. Fox 7 Austin's Meredith Aldis has more.
We had a good girl.
29-year-old Samantha Dean, who was 7 months pregnant with a little girl she named Maddie, was found shot to death in Bastrop in 2015. The killers were 2 men hired by then Austin police officer Von Trey Clark. Investigators say he had Dean killed because she wouldn't abort their daughter.
It never gets any easier.
Dean was the Kyle Police Department's first victim services coordinator.
She was just a ray of light around here. In a very short time, made a huge impact, not only on the Kyle Police Department, but the community of Kyle.
And to honor her and her daughter, the Victim Services Soft Interview Room is named Samantha's Space, and the waiting area is named Maddie's Corner.
This room signifies everything that she was hoping to be able to do, that she did.
3 different artists in the Kyle area designed and painted this space, featuring different flowers, animals.
The frogs were Samantha's favorite.
Oh, look at the tree.
And a healing hands tree.
It will one day have handprints on it from victims that we have served.
As they heal, and Dean's family tries to too. Meredith Aldis, Fox 7 Austin Crime Watch.
Thanks for watching the Fox 7 Austin Crime Watch YouTube exclusive. Our Crime Watch stories run each Monday on Fox 7 Austin News at 9. If you miss them, you can watch anytime on our new Fox Local Connected TV app, which is free to download. And you can watch on Roku, Android TV, Apple TV, and Fire TV, and now on Vizio and Samsung. For more on the stories highlighted in this episode, you can head to our website, fox7austin.com. And don't forget to subscribe to the Fox 7 Austin YouTube channel.